Hey YouTube, my name is Gawd, and you're watching Gawd Cafe. Today's video is going to be on Mars in the third house. So Mars in the third house. So if you have Mars in the third, let's break down what Mars is if you don't know. So Mars is a planet of action, war, desires, drive, sexual drive, ambition, desire. If I didn't say that already, it's just the primal state of being human. It's the innate impulses that we feel. Mars. Now you put it in the house of the third house, the house of Gemini. Okay, so this is the house of Gemini. Also the house of your immediate environment. This house rules communication. Sorry. The ruler of this house is Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. This is the house of Gemini, Mercury. Okay? So, Mercury is a planet of thinking and communicating. So, being that Mars is in the house of communication, you guys are motivated based off of communication. You guys may not really feel inclined to take action unless there's some sort of maybe a phone conversation beforehand, maybe an exchange of words, an email of some sort. You guys get really motivated off of, ideas. And this is an amazing placement, by the way. This placement is the go-getter. This placement is the hustler. This placement is going to take advantage of all opportunities, okay? I do see this for this placement. And if that doesn't resonate with you, perhaps you got to look at other things in your chart. And also, if your Mars is retrograded, this may, manifest differently. You may overthink communication, and it could make it a little harder to take action. So that's the reverse. So because retrogrades will do somewhat of the opposite of what a direct placement would do in a planet. So if your planet is retrograde, and the way you see that is if there's like an R next to the planet when you look at your birth chart. So if it's retrograde, you may have a little bit of a harder time to get motivated to communicate, or you may over observe and over analyze what people say to a degree that may be hindering for your human experience and those around you, and you may not be able to see it. Okay, so that's also a possibility as well. Like I said, it's based off the other signs that you have within your chart, and also what sign that Mars is in within this house. So, let's say you have a Mars and Sag in the third house. And Sag is the opposite of Gemini. Well, maybe there's a little bit more balance here. Perhaps, your communication's a little bit more abrupt, and your immediate environment reminds you of that, and maybe that is your lessons this life to kind of maybe pull back on that, so it can manifest so many ways. But let's get back to the gist of the third house. So Mars in the third house is going to be concerned with, or is going to be motivated, turned on by communication. So this is the person who perhaps maybe a sapiosexual, who needs communication and some sort of intellectual stimulation before the bedroom, because maybe there's no way for this individual, you guys, to get aroused or, desire someone unless that is established. Maybe you need to see that they're an intellectual individual that you could bounce ideas with. Maybe that is what turns you on, And it's very important to know what it is that you require while finding a significant other, because if not, then we're wasting our time here, So it's very important to be aware of those things and to communicate it. And I'm sure you guys know that because you have Mars in the third house. So it's all about the communication. Now, you also like to take a walk, travel within your immediate environment. You love road trips. You may love traveling, to, vacations and all that, and yeah, but I do see that Mars in the third house kind of desires more of like the quick getaway that doesn't require too much packing. You want a 3-day getaway with your friends spontaneously on the spot. I could see that being a thing where it's just like, let's just do that. So it's because it's on the spot, you're not going to book a flight right away all the time for things that are kind of more spontaneous, So I do feel like Mars in the third house enjoys the spontaneity of life and calling the shots randomly and, calling the shots whenever it feels right, basically, based off of what the weather is doing, the environments, because this is the immediate environment. So Mars here is taking everything in account. It's looking at all the details. It's Gemini, the ruler of Mercury. So it's very aware of all the details and the nuances within this house. So overall, I think this is a great, 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 magnificent placement. Perhaps the only downfall here is entertaining too much things, okay? Because this is also Gemini. So Gemini, it likes to distract itself. So your Mars may really enjoy distracting itself, and now you have too many projects on your plate. So this is like the con, but like, is it the worst con? No, like, because you have too much ideas, too much on your plate. You just may have to delegate, your workload, okay? So you may have to delegate your workload or postpone certain projects for a later date and just like have no one know about it. Just have it so that you maybe have like this like 10-year timeline about what it is that you want within this 10 years of everything you want to do and when you would do it. That might excite you and that might motivate you, okay? Making that sort of detailing list or, bullet point or just plan overall for your life. So that would definitely motivate you because Mars is going to get motivated with anything mercurial, okay? So anything that's based off of Mercury, it's going to motivate Mars in the third. So communications, making a list, paying attention to the details, assessing the details, and not just killing time. Like, you got to be careful with playing phone games, okay? Because I could see this placement like killing a lot of time because it's just loves doing different things and then switching it up, because that's just what this Mars placement enjoys, multitasking. It's the best multitasker. What? You guys are the best damn multitaskers. You guys enjoy switching it up, You guys get bored easily. So it's very important that when you're working on something to be able to navigate more than one project at once so that you can utilize having more of a focus, okay? Because you can lose your focus with this placement very easily. Things bore you, so they don't keep your focus. So perhaps, let's say, in a weird way, you guys enjoy being busier than the average individual. It was like kind of exciting to be able to, navigate through this busyness and get through it. So, maybe allow yourself to take on more than one task at once and just give it a shot. Like do 2 tasks at once. And the minute you feel boredom with one, just jump onto the other one. For example, like I make music. You guys go check that out in the description if you want. But in making music, I get to study my own psychology, okay? So I get to see, what it's like to take action, regardless. And sometimes, I would pay attention too much to the nuances and get carried away with them and maybe mess up some projects sometimes, because I didn't know how to walk away from it, or I was forcing myself to sit there and edit it or whatever, and my attention span wasn't there. It wasn't motivating me, and so I had to assess, okay, let me just, juggle between 2 projects. The minute I get a little, my ear starts to get a little numb hearing the same song I'm working on, I'll just switch over to the next project. And then the minute that happens, I'll just switch back and forth. And then guess what started happening, as soon as I was working on one project and I started getting the hang of going back and forth, as soon as I started getting slightly tired of the current project, I started like, you know, when the song's in your head, I started like having those moments with the other song I was working on, almost as if like the universe was trying to tell me, all right, now go back, you know, because my brain was like, yes, I don't mind doing this work. I needed to switch up a little bit because my brain literally will not, and I have a South Node in Gemini, so I understand Gemini energy a lot. Don't have Mars in Gemini, but I have a South Node in Gemini. So, you know, because that Gemini energy it just likes to distract itself. It is what it is. And to know it, then you can weaponize it. You're the best multitasker out there. How many businesses are looking for that? You know what I mean? So everything's how you look at it, you know? So because you are easily distracted now, like, let's just put a few things in your plate so that, like, you would actually procrastinate more sticking to one project opposed to several at a time. Several at a time does something for, like, I guess the ego or something. Like, oh, I'm really out here doing stuff. Like, I gotta get to it. I got all this to add. Oh my God. Whereas this one thing, the minute boredom strikes, you can't fight against the boredom, okay? You cannot fight against the boredom Gemini fields, okay? So you can act as if you're not bored because that's what people tell you to do, but in reality, you're not really here. So you need to fluctuate between projects or anything that you're working on, okay? It's going to really keep you in flow, excite you. The minute one thing gets a little, like, you get stuck on, go to the third, second, fourth minute you're feeling like that with all of them, revisit the first. You'll have a new reset perspective because it's like smelling a coffee bean when smelling different perfumes. You keep smelling one perfume, right? And you get tired of it. You may not need the coffee bean if you smell a new perfume, right? Because then the scent is completely different, so it's okay. But after you smell maybe like 4 different perfumes, you do need the coffee bean because now your nostrils are kind of like everything feels like the same, right? So that's kind of what rotating projects will feel like. So you will feel like, I'm starting to lose my attention span, and it's okay. Pick up on that. Don't lie to yourself. And go back, even if it's 2 minutes, girl. Like 2 minutes, and move on. Because next thing you know, you go back and forth, and there's gonna be a moment that 2 minutes becomes 3 minutes each, 4 minutes each. Now you're really into the zone. Now you're there for an hour, and you didn't even know how. Finessing. Okay, so Gemini, you also have to finesse the inner Gemini, because if not, the Gemini will finesse you. Like, it's a finessing type of energy in a way. So either you finesse yourself and don't realize it, or, like, you know, life will finesse you somehow. So you kind of have to be on top of where the finessing energy is always at with Gemini. You have to kind of be like, where is this navigating towards, and how do I, like, you know, grab it so that it's really going to go the way I want it to go. Okay. Anyway, YouTube, my name is Gary the Gawd. You're watching Gawd Cafe. Until next time. Oh, please like, comment, and subscribe.